from Seeds of Happiness. Okay, so today we are on chapter 4, story number 2, page 81. Everyone's too busy with their own affairs to bother about you. Even if you fail at something, don't get too depressed. When we quarrel with someone or are criticized for something we've done and a relationship turns sour, we tend to become anxious and unhappy, worrying that person seems to think badly of me. He must dislike me and wish I weren't around. Then we start to avoid people and become suspicious, imagining all sorts of strange things, and end up unable to relate comfortably to others. But think about it for a minute. Everybody's too busy with their own affairs to bother much about the people around them. When you realize that, you will feel much more comfortable. I received the following message from Mr. Goto, a reader of my email newsletter. I've made a lot of mistakes in my work recently. I worry that my bosses and colleagues are wishing I weren't even in the workplace anymore. It makes me depressed. I ask a few questions. Are there people in your workplace who make even more mistakes than you do? Yes, I would say so. Are you always hoping that such people will leave the workplace? Do you want to get rid of them? I might think that for a moment when their mistakes directly cause problems for me, but not for very long. I tend to forget about other people's mistakes. That's right. If what they did causes you a problem, you get mad and think all kinds of things, but you forget about it in a day or two. And I think everyone's that way too. Yes, I'm sure you're right about that. I think so. Today is Sunday. Do you suppose the person you are so worried about is spending his day off, wishing you'd disappear from the workplace? No, I doubt he's thinking about me that much. Mr. Goto seemed considerably calmer as he gave this reply. Well, then who's the one who's actually thinking it would be better if Goto weren't working here? I guess it's me, he answered, looking relieved. That's right. Everyone's too busy with their own affairs to bother much about the people around them. When I said that, Mr. Goto responded, I guess I was more fearful than I needed to be due to my mistakes. Thank you for your advice. He left looking much refreshed. There's nobody who is able to do everything well. Everybody makes mistakes occasionally, so it happens that one is scolded and rebuked at times. But that's limited to that particular time and place. Just as you forget about your workmates on the weekend, they're forgetting about you too. So don't fret yourself because of a quarrel or a mistake or because someone scolded you. Reflect on your weaknesses and then plant good seeds for the future, and things will go well for you. And in the illustration, there is a small rabbit who seems to be shivering in anxiety with some kind of uh, yeah, drops of sweat as she's so much fearful. And then she starts wondering, maybe this is just, maybe I'm frightened of my own shadow. The shadow, like the inner voice that tells us, oh, my boss really hates me, or this person doesn't like me. So maybe I'm more afraid of my shadow than what reality is. Yeah, so this is a very powerful lesson in learning to interpret everything positively and not be too uh, attached to kind of negative outcomes at work or at home. Sometimes we have a difference of opinions, we argue with someone, and we feel kind of miserable. But if we realize that no one is supposed to be perfect, we all make mistakes, and instead do self reflection and improve our situation, then we don't have to suffer so needlessly, imagining all sorts of things that he or she hates me, they don't want me to be here. Yeah, so also it teaches us the power of the mind. So if we spend too much time on our own, if we don't have a sense of direction in life, because we haven't been listening to Buddhism long enough, Buddhism teaches very clearly about where we are going, what is our purpose. Obviously, it's happiness that that's genuine, that doesn't abandon us. If we become more clear about where we want to arrive at, we don't miss any minute, kind of wasting our time worrying over things that are not fruitful. Instead, we are concerned, okay, how can I move forward towards this happiness that never abandons me? How can I get there? What is the process like? We listen to Buddhism more and more in order to receive that guidance, how to go forward. Yeah, and we need to listen from someone who already knows about this true happiness so they can guide us on the straight path to that wonderful, beautiful goal. Yeah, so this is the best way not to allow our minds to just wander around and ruminate and make up the stories and just make ourselves miserable. We have to have a structure for our mind, for our time, for our life, and that structure keeps us in shape, moving towards our purpose, leading a purpose driven life. So, good job, everyone. I'm sure this is why we gather here. You're here to do this recitation meditation together in order to have that structure and see the benefits throughout the day. Today is Wednesday, so we're going to have the Karma Lab at 5 p.m. Pacific time and have a beautiful morning. Goodbye, everyone.